I want to say thanks always to the librarian staff. I love everybody at the library. I love to bring students to the library. You have to remember to find a reason to bring your group in here. There are reasons. They do lovely presentations for them. And the kids always walk away going, I didn't even know this place was here. Right? Yeah, they come to the library and they do group and then they go home. And they have Starbucks. So there we go. And so yes, Peg and I were here last year with our encyclopedia, which again, thank the librarians. A copy of it is in the display they have on past women professors here on the university. There's something by Deborah in there too, which is cool. Go with famous, yeah, why not? So that's really cool, and Peg is right. Last year, the American Library Association gave us one of the top 10 best reference texts published last year, and that was for a 4-volume piece on American women in history. Yeah, it was really good. We had a good time doing that. So thank you very much for putting that on display. The book that I've written now this year is a novel based on the life of Filippo Mazzei, or Philip Mazzei back in the day. He was an Italian-American immigrant who bought the plantation next door to Thomas Jefferson, and he decided he didn't want to use slaves. He didn't believe in that. So he brought Italian peasants, granted, so they weren't making $1 million, but they were not slaves. And they helped found the wine country of Virginia at the time. And they became the early Italian-American immigrants to Virginia. And many of them, their genealogy is tracked on the Monticello website. So Filippo brought them here to work on his plantation. He also wrote pamphlets pro the American Revolution with Thomas Jefferson, and only did not attend the Continental Congress when he was invited because he felt that his English wasn't good enough to follow the very fast debates that would be going on among all the other men. So he stayed home in Virginia and he continued to write. And one of the things he wrote was a phrase that Thomas Jefferson liked so much, it ended up in the Declaration of Independence. And it was, in fact, all men are created equal. That was first written on American soil by Filippo Mazzei, not Tom. And it's been, our Congress has actually mentioned that. So what I thought I would do for my little minute here was just read a little part of the section where he and Thomas Jefferson first meet. So, the friendship that was to last a lifetime began as Virginia planter Thomas Adams' carriage rode up the grand driveway of Monticello. Filippo saw at a glance how much Jefferson esteemed all things Italian. The neoclassical design of the main home came from the principles described by the Italian Renaissance architect Andrea Palladio. How do you know that? Adams asked Filippo as they drove. I've read Palladio's 4 books of architecture. Among all the architects in Europe, Palladio is considered the most influential individual in the history of architecture. His precepts are unforgettable. Filippo felt the pride of the homeland that he took in as he looked at the grandeur of the 4 columns of the center rotunda. To see my culture echoed in this new land. It means you belong here, my friend, said Adams. More than the echo of Italian architecture, Filippo felt at home the moment the 32-year-old Jefferson stepped out the front portico, all 6 feet 2 inches of him. Jefferson greeted them in Italian, though he mispronounced ciao, saying it phonetically as ciao. For an instant, Filippo did not know how to respond. To correct his host seemed disrespectful, but to allow him to continue uncorrected could cause embarrassment later. Jefferson clearly saw the confusion on Filippo's face and switched to English. You must excuse my pronunciation, he began. Having only read the language until now, I have never heard the word spoken. I hope I have caused no offense. Oh, no offense taken at all, promised Filippo immediately in his own imperfect English. The great Jefferson has made a mistake, laughed Adams. I knew Filippo would be an asset to these colonies. Filippo switched to Italian again to say ciao e grazie mille, pronouncing each word slowly so that Jefferson could take in the pronunciation. Thank you for offering such generous hospitality in such an elegant home. Jefferson basked in the compliment to his pride and joy. I've often said that Italy is a field where the inhabitants of our southern states may see much to copy in the architecture. Jefferson said again, exercising his Italian. Adams laughed heartily. Would anyone care to translate, or shall I retire to my rooms and allow you two to continue this lesson? We shall all retire, Jefferson said, after our guest has done me one more favor. Anything, said Filippo. May you please allow me to hear the name of my home pronounced by a native? Of course, said Filippo, as he stood on the portico himself, admiring the view of the main gardens and the mountains beyond. Then he said Monticello, phonetically, as Monticello, little mount. Ah, Jefferson noted, your CE is pronounced ch. I shall remember. Italian is such a delightful language, but I fear learning it has confounded my French and my Spanish." Then Filippo watched warmly as Jefferson himself looked out over his land and said for the first time, "Monticello."